Hi everybody, this is Rich. Welcome back to my channel. The channel here is all about drones and photography. So if you're into those two things or one of those things, please consider subscribing and joining me again for more videos. So this video, I'm going to talk about camera lenses. I'm putting this together as a little bit of a series where I'm going to talk about various different focal length lenses and their uses and why you might want them really. I'm going to go through several lenses that I own. I'm going to show example photos and their sorts of uses and where they might be beneficial for your photography. And yeah, just hope this is going to help you really decide on lenses that you wish to purchase for your camera, as it's always confusing when you get a new camera and always tempting just to buy a ton of lenses that you might not necessarily need. I'm certainly guilty of doing that. I've got 6 lenses here, plus there's one on my camera right now that I'm filming with, and I've got a couple of other lenses knocking around in my house as well. So I've got yeah, probably too many lenses that I'm probably not going to use all of them ever really. But yeah, I'm going to start off this series of videos by talking about the 85mm f1.8 which I own. I have the Sony E mount system, so the lens that I decided to buy was this Viltrox f1.8 85mm lens. It's a nice third-party lens for the E mount system. Obviously fits it without an adapter or anything like that, and gives the benefit of all the proper autofocus features such as eye autofocus and AFC, AFS, everything works as it should. Works for focusing in video as well. So that's the benefit of having a native lens really over an adapted lens, as sometimes you do lose some autofocusing options. But yeah, the 85mm lens, it's primarily interesting for is portraits really. That's why most people buy an 85mm f1.8. It's to take amazing portrait photos, and certainly why I was interested in it, and it's helped me take some photos such as these with all my studio strobe lights and backdrop and everything, and then also some photos out and about such as these. So yeah, the benefits of the 85mm lens though are that it has a very low f-stop. So f1.8 means that you can use it in low light, you can up your shutter speed and not lose any sharpness in your images. And at f1.8 you can get a really nice blurred out effect to your backgrounds, really nice bokeh as they call it in photography. The reason for that is f1.8 is a very shallow depth of field. And when I talk about these focal lengths, it's worth me adding that I'm talking about them on a full frame camera. So 85mm on a full frame camera is going to be a true 85mm, whereas 85 on a CMOS sensor or crop censored camera is going to be more like 125mm. It's something like 1.5 times, you say, for the crop factor. So the equivalent lens for a crop sensor would probably be a 50mm. But then you're not going to get as shallow a depth of field as you do on a full frame. So yeah, 85mm on a full frame we're talking about here. So going back to what I was saying, it's great for getting a really shallow depth of field, blurring out your backgrounds, making your subject really stand out in your photographs and really get the focus on somebody's eyes, and then you can even have their hair towards the back of the head, all blurring out, as well as obviously the background and the backdrop. So you can produce some beautiful portraits with an 85mm lens. So it's great for those reasons. Another benefit is the sort of compression that you get in your images. With some focal lengths such as 35mm, 50mm, you'll get a bit of distortion when you're trying to do a portrait photo, and also it will take in a lot more of the background. And when you're trying to get a really nice portrait photo, sometimes you want to narrow the background down a bit because you really want to just focus on your subject, on the model or the person that you're shooting, rather than getting loads of background information into the picture. So that reason, again, is why an 85mm lens is fantastic for portraits. But as well as portrait photography, an 85mm lens, it can be used for so much more. I've used it when going to a zoo just to take some animal photos. Quite often just set it up as on my camera as a walk around lens, just for when I'm out and about doing maybe street photography, and just on holiday generally, just getting snaps, as it just produces really nice, sharp, crisp images. And it's a nice focal length in that 85mm is very much as your eye sees it. It doesn't add distortion like a wide angle lens might do. And also at 85mm, it means you're not having to go like miles away from your subject like you might do with a 200mm lens. So that's another benefit of the 85mm. And as I said, great in low light as well. So that means that if it's an evening and you're indoors taking photos, you can most likely get away with putting the f-stop right down and still get some really nice crisp images without having to raise your ISO levels up too high in your camera. So those are the reasons that you might want an 85mm lens if you're interested in taking beautiful portraits, and also just want a really nice sharp lens that's good in low light. 85mm is a great lens to look at. So that's the first in this series about camera lenses. So that's the 85mm lens. As you'll see, I've got several other lenses here. So join me for my next video in this series, where I'll talk about the 70 to 200 telephoto lens. So I've got an f2.8 70 to 200 here. I'll talk about that, its uses, and how that could benefit your photography. So I hope this video is useful, and please, if you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe to my channel and look out for more of these videos about camera lenses. And please give the video a like and thumbs up, and join me again soon. So I hope to see you all again here soon. Have a great day, everybody, and thanks for joining me. Bye for now.